Well, we asked the Labour Party if the leader of their Westminster team, Jim Murphy, would appear in the programme tonight to discuss his manifesto. He wasn't available, but earlier this evening, Iain Gray, Labour's opposition leader in the Scottish Parliament, came into our Edinburgh studio. Iain Gray, first of all, I mean, it's delightful to see you as always, but you're not actually standing in this campaign, are you?
No, but I was certainly part of the manifesto launch today. It's a manifesto which covers lots of areas which are clearly reserved to Westminster around the economy and jobs, but it also talks about health and education, important ideas that we believe matter very much to the Scottish public and which they expect us to be talking about during this general election. Right,
but they aren't relevant to this general election.
Well, they are relevant because they're the commitments for what we will do, the things that we will pursue from opposition, and the things that come 2011 we will seek to get the opportunity to deliver from government as well. But, you know, the Scottish Parliament...
So the slogan is, vote Labour in this election so that you can vote Labour in the next election, and if we win both of them, X will happen.
No, it's not that at all. I mean, we've already demonstrated, for example, by delivering 8,000 new apprenticeships for our young people, that even from opposition, in the Scottish Parliament, which, remember, is a parliament of minorities, it is possible to deliver on the priorities that we think are most important to the Scottish people. But the other thing is that this manifesto is very much about locking in the recovery and dealing with the deficit, but doing that in a way which doesn't throw us back into recession. But what we've learned in recent years... Well, hang on, what we've learned in recent years...
I was just trying to find out who was running your campaign.
It's okay to do that. No, what we've learned in recent years is that it's okay to take the right decisions in terms of saving the banks or stimulating the economy. But if those are going to work for Scotland, we have to have the right decisions taken at a Scottish level as well.
All right. Now, on your big promises, you won't put income tax up. You've just done it. So why on earth should anyone take you seriously?
Well, with the 50p rate is there, it was in the budget, and there's a commitment
and
that
there will be no... And you promised in your last manifesto to have no rises in income tax.
Well, and that rise in income tax comes in at the end. It comes in circumstances of enormous economic change, but there's a commitment there that there will be no further rise in the higher rate of income tax, no rise in the
unless
basic
something
rate.
happens that's unexpected.
The commitment is absolute, that there will be no rise.
It was absolute in your previous manifesto.
The commitment is absolute. In the manifesto, there will be no rise in the basic rate or higher rate of income tax.
Why do you not promise not to raise value-added tax?
Well, because we have got a costed-out way of dealing with the deficit. We've made promises on particular taxation, income tax. There are some tax rises in this manifesto, and we've explained how we'll pay for them as well.
I repeat the question, why do you not promise not to raise value-added tax?
Because what we have set out is a way in which we believe that we can deal with the deficit.
If you believe you can deal with the deficit without raising VAT, then why not say you won't raise VAT? And if you believe you can't deal with the deficit without raising VAT, then why not say you will raise it?
Because we have to deal with the deficit. The deficit will be dealt with in a number of different ways. One of those ways is through tax changes. The tax changes which we plan and which were set out in the budget are laid out in the manifesto. The way in which we pay for them is also laid out in the manifesto. And on certain other taxes we make commitments, and those are the ones that you refer to, a commitment to not increasing income tax.
I'm not sure I understand. So what you're saying is you might have to raise VAT, but you're not sure yet?
There are certainly no plans to raise VAT, and we have laid out how we will deal with the deficit without doing that.
Almost everyone in business in Scotland is convinced that your proposed national insurance rise will cost jobs. Why is almost everyone in business in Scotland wrong?
Well, I'm not sure that everyone in business is convinced of that. A number of businesses have said that they support what the Tories are suggesting. The argument we make is quite straightforward. The way in which the Tories say they would avoid this national insurance increase is by taking something like £12 billion additionally out of the economy within the next 9 months, and the consequence of that would be appalling. It would be appalling for the Scottish budget, for one thing. It would be appalling for public services in Scotland, but the biggest thing is it would throw us back into the recession.
Right, the Scottish National Party line is that you need do neither.
They have to explain how that's possible. Look, what we have to do,
Gordon...
It's
very possible is you don't put national insurance up next year, and therefore you don't need to cut public spending further to pay for it.
No, what we have to do is
first... But why is that wrong?
What we first have to do, Gordon, is secure the recovery in this year.
Well, the SNP argument is that's a better way to do it.
And then we have to deal with the deficit. And one of the ways in which we deal with the deficit is at that point when both Treasury and independent commentators, including the OECD, say the economy will be growing again. At that point, we raise some of the money in order to deal with the deficit. But what if the economy isn't growing?
Why not just say you might do it if the economic conditions are right? Which is what I think the Liberal Democrats would argue, and certainly the SNP would argue.
Well, we're confident, and independent commentators back us up in this, that we've taken the right decisions, are taking the right decisions, and the economy will be growing again by then. But look, a lot of those who are saying that this change will cost jobs are amongst those who said the national minimum wage, when we brought that in, would cost, I think they said, 2 million jobs at that time. And that wasn't the case. We brought the national minimum wage in, and employment increased and unemployment decreased. That's what happened, by the way, the last time national insurance went up as well.
OK, I was very interested to note in your manifesto a commitment to, and I quote, breaking up those banks in which the government currently has a controlling stake. What are your plans to break up RBS?
Well, I think RBS is already selling off some of its retail network, the Williams and Glyn's.
Oh, so you don't mean any breaking up other than that?
I think those banks where it makes the best business sense, we're saying they should be, that they will have to be reduced in size.
Yeah,
and
I'm sorry, I'm not clear on this. Are you saying that breaking up the banks means the rather minor sell-offs that RBS is engaged in at the moment? Or are you saying that breaking up the banks certainly sounds in your manifesto as if it means something a bit more radical than that?
Well, it's a pretty significant break-up, actually. I think.
So you do just mean what they're doing already?
There's a lot of interest in that purchase because I think anyone who buys that
I just want to get clear, though.
One of the biggest retail bankers in the UK.
Are you saying breaking up the banks means what's happening already, or something that you're actually proposing to do?
Right. I think it means what will be right for the banks.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm not sure exactly
sorry,
what
this
you're
is a manifest.
What? I'm not sure exactly you're asking me what it means. It means that...
Well, what I'm asking is that these... I've just quoted your own manifesto to you, and you don't seem to know what it means.
It means that these banks will have to divest themselves of those parts of the business which have not served them properly and got them into the difficulty
over and above the divestments they're making already or not?
I think it will go further than that, yeah.
Well, how would you like, in that case, to break up RBS?
Well, I think they're also looking at selling off some of their other non-core businesses, such as their insurance.
Yeah, I know.
So those are the kind of decisions.
But you know, for example, that Mervyn King thinks the big banks should be broken up entirely, right? And, for example, their investment arms should be taken away from their retail banking arms. I mean, is that what you're suggesting in your manifesto?
No, I don't think that proposal is what's suggested in the manifesto. It is about getting the banks back to a position where they serve the economy the way they should and they are financially viable.